What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 3 picks wrong and got 21 right, which is a 90% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 90% win rate. So we are on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 90% win rate and get 21 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just won $475 just yesterday, another member who won $119 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Also want to give a quick shout out to Ladson Bruce who said Brown Boy Dylan SC, shouts out to Blaine Mundell who said love it, and then shouts out to Hit the Top 2792 who spammed up the money face emoji. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Giannis Antetokounmpo, and this one is actually for 33 points and this one is for less. Now we look at Giannis Antetokounmpo, we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now when we look at those last 5 games, on April 6th they faced off against Miami where he had 36 points there. Then April 9th faced off actually against Minnesota, and in that matchup he only had 23 points. Then moving on from that, April 11th faced off against New Orleans Pelicans where he had 28 points, and then 32 points against Detroit on April 12th, and then Indiana Pacers on April 20th had 36 points. So he's done a fantastic job for none other than the Milwaukee Bucks, and now the Milwaukee Bucks do have themselves a very interesting matchup against the Indiana Pacers. Now as you all know, when it comes to this series, we are starting off pretty strong from Indiana's side because Indiana actually lead the series 1-0. Now in that first game we actually did see the Pacers beat Bucks 117-98, so interesting score there, definitely a comfortable win for this Pacers team. But now we do see, coming into game 2, we definitely can see or expect the Bucks to make some slight adjustments. Now looking at both of these teams during the regular season, we did see the Bucks come in at 5th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 48-34. So he did a fantastic job, when it comes to Giannis for the Milwaukee Bucks, he was able to get them that 5th spot, and Indiana Pacers do have a record of 50-32 with a 61% win percentage. So they did a great job there. Now obviously both of these teams are currently ranked 4th and 5th, so this is the most even matchup in relation to their rankings, so it's definitely going to be a tight series overall. But looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo, we do like the under for the points. Now when we look at Indiana Pacers, we do see that the Pacers do rank 17th when it comes to points allowed, so they don't really rank too high. However, the reason why we do like the under for this situation here is for 2 reasons. The first being that Indiana actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the forward position. So for that reason, we definitely see someone like, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who does play forward, going on the under in this one. And specifically coming into this next game, we are expecting Indiana to really hone in and focus on Giannis and stopping him as much as they can. We have seen this time and time again throughout the regular season that the way Indiana like to play defense is to try to restrict the stars as much as possible. So they didn't really do a great job in that game 1. Obviously Giannis was still able to go on the over, having 36 points, but we should see in this next matchup, we should see Indiana definitely change their strategy and try to restrict him as much as they can. Even though they did win game 1, we are still expecting a couple of adjustments from the Indiana Pacers coming into this next game. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, when we look at someone like Giannis as well, we do see when he has faced off against Indiana during the season, it's definitely been a bit of a mixed bag. We saw them verse each other on the 22nd of November of last year. He had 37 points in that matchup. Then on the 31st of December, played again and had 30 points there. Then on the 11th of, actually March, we saw him have only 19 points, and then on the 15th of actual the same month he had 34 points. So he did go in the under in 2 out of those 4 games, so it's a straight down the middle 50-50 during the regular season. But now coming into playoff time, we should definitely see someone like Giannis go on the under in this one. Obviously, Pacers are doing everything they can to try to solidify and continue to beat them in this series, and we are expecting Indiana Pacers as a whole to come out to play a little bit different type of defense when it comes to really focusing on stars, which is someone like Giannis, and restricting him as much as they can. So we are expecting the under for this one. It has been shown over the history of this season that Indiana can definitely restrict Giannis to points, so we should see a similar outcome coming into this next one. So keep an eye out for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So Giannis for 33 points for less, I think, is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or SGA. And this one is a great one for points, rebounds, and assists for 44. And this one actually is for less. Now we look at SGA, we've actually seen him do a fantastic job all season. Now obviously looking at SGA, we have seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, we see on April 3rd, faced off against Detroit where he had a 42 PRA. Then against Houston Rockets on April 5th, having a 34 PRA. And then a 39 PRA against the LA Lakers on April 7th. And then April 9th, faced off against the Lakers, had a 54 PRA. And then Memphis Grizzlies had a 23 PRA against on April 21st. So, we actually did see SGA go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. We definitely are expecting, coming into this next matchup, they face off against the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, we do see OKC and Memphis. Now, looking at both of these teams, obviously, Oklahoma City Thunder actually finished the season with the best record in the NBA with a 68-14 record. That's an 82.9% win percentage. They had first in the Western Conference, and they face off against the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies on the other side had the worst out of the playoffs team because they actually came in at 8th with a record of 48-34. So a 58.5%, win percentage. So interestingly enough there, we do actually or are expecting someone like SGA, coming into this matchup, and OKC in general to maybe solidify and get this game 2 win. They did blow out Memphis in that game 1. We actually saw them win 131-80. So a very, very big win there coming into this game, or game 2 in that sense. Now, when we look at Memphis Grizzlies, even though they did get absolutely smoked, we also do see that the Memphis Grizzlies do rank 24th in points allowed. On top of that, they rank 18th in assists allowed. And when it comes to rebounds allowed, we do see that the Memphis Grizzlies do rank 10th. Now, when it comes to Memphis Grizzlies, although they are pretty mid-tier in all 3 categories, there are a couple of reasons why we do like the under for this one. A big reason being is that when it comes to SGA, he does play the guard position. And what we have seen time and time again is that Memphis do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the guard position. So we definitely see someone like SGA being affected from this. Now, obviously, looking at SGA, during the regular season, he has done a great job, and he definitely does have a high usage rate. But Memphis, what we have noticed time and time again is that they do run similar sort of defenses to Indiana, which we talked about in the last pick. But, coming into this one, Memphis do a very, very focused job on their star players, on who they're playing, and try to restrict them as much as possible. And they were able to do that in game, 1. Obviously, OKC did actually end up smoking them. However, when it comes to SGA's usage rate, it was definitely a little bit on the lower end, and also the blowout situation definitely helped. And we could definitely see another blowout situation here, and could definitely help towards SGA going on the under. Now, looking at SGA, we definitely did see him go on the under significantly against Memphis because he only had a 23 PRA. But looking at SGA throughout the whole season, we actually saw a little bit of a mixed bag as well. Now, we did see SGA face against them on the 29th of December, he had 35 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists there. Another game on the 8th of February, had 32 points and 8 assists. So, did go under the line on that one. And then another matchup on the 5th of the next month after, having 41 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists. And then on the 27th, had 37 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists there. So, we did actually see SGA go on the under in 1 out of those 3 games. However, coming into this next matchup, we should definitely see Memphis try to focus in and hone in as much as they can against SGA and try to stop him as much as possible. But the fact that this could be also another blowout situation and have SGA and or OKC's coach take off SGA early, it can definitely affect this game drastically, which is why we do like the under for this situation here. So for that reason, SGA for a 44 PRA for less, I think is an absolute fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Haliburton, or Tyrese Haliburton at that. And this one is a great one for PRA as well for 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Tyrese Haliburton, we have seen him do a fantastic job all season. However, he has gone on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now, they face off against Milwaukee Bucks, but looking at the last 5 games, first of all, we do see on April 5th, they faced off against Utah Jazz, where he had a 34 PRA. Then April 7th, faced off against Denver, where he had 26 PRA. Then a 29 PRA against Washington on April 9th. Then April 11th, faced off against Cleveland, where he had a 41 PRA. And then April 20th, faced off against Milwaukee Bucks, where he actually had a 29 PRA. So we did see him go in the under in 4 out of the last 5, and his average over the last 5 is also 31.8. So, when we look at that, significantly below his line, and now Indiana Pacers do face off against the Milwaukee Bucks. As you all know, when we look at the Bucks, we see that they rank 13th when it comes to points allowed, 14th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, we do see them rank a little bit lower as a rank 24th. So they don't really rank too well in that category. Now, when it comes to someone like Tyrese Haliburton, we do very much like the under for this situation here, due to the fact that Bucks do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the guard position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely are expecting, Milwaukee Bucks to really hone in and focus in as much as they can and restrict Tyrese as much as possible. Obviously, they did lose game 1 by a fair margin, and we are expecting, Milwaukee Bucks to try and change their defensive strategies in order to see if they can take game 2. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one there. Now, looking at Tyrese Haliburton against the Bucks throughout the season, we saw them face off against each other on the 22nd of November, and then he actually had 18 points, 1 rebound, 9 assists in that matchup. So we actually did see him go on the under in that one. Then 31st of December, we actually saw him have 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. So that was an interesting stat line, but also still under the line. And then again, on the 11th of actually March, had 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 10 assists. Went on the under there. And then finishing off 15th of that same month, had 24 points, 15 assists, and 6 rebounds there. So he did better in that one. But we did see 3 out of the 4 games, we actually did see Tyrese go on the under. So we should expect a similar situation coming into this next one. So, coming into this game, obviously Milwaukee Bucks have done a fantastic job throughout the season, restricting him as much as they can. Obviously, in game 1, he did have himself a pretty decent game. But you also see that when it comes to that game, it still wasn't enough for him to go on the over. So, we are expecting a similar situation. Even if Indiana win, we definitely see Tyrese going on the under here. So Tyrese Haliburton, 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Pascal Siakam. So as you all know, Pascal Siakam has done a fantastic job for none other than the Indiana Pacers. Now he has actually averaged during the regular season 20.2 points, ranking him 33rd, 6.9 rebounds, ranking him 32nd, 3.4 assists, ranking him 76th, and then 51.9% from the field, ranking him 23rd. So he has done a fantastic job for none other than the actual Indiana Pacers. Now, when it comes to the Indiana Pacers, they do have themselves a very good matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, as you all know, looking at both of these teams, we do know that both of these teams are, continuing to fight for a playoff, I guess move on in the playoff round. Now, when we look at game one, we actually did see Indiana win game one, and they actually won 117-98. So a pretty comfortable win there. Now, coming into the second game, obviously Bucks are looking to answer back, but looking at both of these teams and where they actually ranked during the regular season, we did see the Milwaukee Bucks do rank fifth with a record of 48-34. So they actually had a 58.5% win percentage. So they actually did pretty decent there. Now they also do face off against none other than the Pacers, and Pacers did rank fourth with a record of 50-32. So they had a 61% win percentage. So they are, close to even when it comes to them ranking fourth and fifth. This is probably the most even matchup when it comes to actually rankings based off it. So obviously this is definitely going to be an exciting game, but when we actually look at the Milwaukee Bucks and where they rank when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists allowed, we do see that Bucks do rank 13th when it comes to points allowed. Those rank 14th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also do see them rank 24th. So we've actually seen them, do a pretty decent job throughout the whole season. However, they do rank a very, very mid-tier. Now, we do very much like the over for this situation for Pascal Siakam due to the fact that Milwaukee Bucks do a poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the power forward position. So we definitely see someone like Pascal being able to take advantage of this, especially when it comes to this game too. When we actually look at Pascal, when we look at his first game actually against Milwaukee in game one, we actually saw him have 25 points, so he went over on his averages there. He had 2 assists, so went on the under there, but then had 7 rebounds, which was over his average when it comes to rebounds. So we actually did see him go on the over in 2 out of those 3 games. So we are expecting a similar situation where we could definitely see him go on the over once again. Obviously, when it comes to game 2, there will be adjustments to be made, but I do believe Pascal will still be able to pursue it and be able to still go over on his line due to the fact that this Pacers team isn't really just relying on Pascal. They have so many other great players in this roster that I don't think that a lot of defensive strategy is going to focus just on Pascal specifically. So we should see Siakam be able to still take advantage of this, sort of game. Now, first game, he obviously played fantastic. He also shot 66% from the field and 60% from the 3, so we are expecting similar numbers there. But I think when it comes to Pascal, where I definitely would focus on is definitely points and rebounds. He just has a higher usage rate in both of those departments. Do not get me wrong, he does well in the assist category, but definitely not enough to see him, go on the over as much as the points and rebounds. So that's why I would definitely focus a little bit more on those two there. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Pascal Siakam. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially when it comes to points and rebounds. So keep it out for the line first. If the line is under his averages, then definitely look to go on the over there. Now, getting into the next player, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Zach Edey, or Zach Edey, as some people like to call him as well. Now, when we look at Zach, we've actually seen him throughout the regular season average 9.2 points, 8.3 rebounds, 1 assist, while also shooting 58.0% from the field. So he did a fantastic job for the Memphis Grizzlies during the regular season. Now, he did rank 143rd in the points department. Now, when we also look at rebounds, we saw him rank 17th and then 150th plus, in the assist department, since he doesn't have that high of a usage rate there. Now, we still do see Memphis Grizzlies facing off against the Oklahoma City Thunder coming into this game too. Now, obviously, this is going to be a pretty intense matchup. We did see Thunder absolutely annihilate Grizzlies in that game 1. It didn't really go in their favor. However, we could definitely see a bounce back here. Now, I'm not saying that Grizzlies are going to come win this game. However, we should see definitely a lot of adjustments being made after that game 1. So they did lose by quite a lot. The score at the end was 131-80. So 51 points I actually did lose by, just off my quick math. Hopefully that is right. But yeah, they lost by 51 points in that matchup. So they are looking to answer back and be able to come in a little bit more prepared for game 2. Now, looking at Oklahoma City Thunder and their defensive abilities, we do see OKC ranking 3rd in points allowed. They also rank 4th in assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also do see them ranked 20th. But we do very much like the under for the situation here. Now, I definitely would focus on points and rebounds due to the fact that Zach does have a bigger usage rate in those two departments. I highly doubt there is going to be a line out for Zach Edey when it comes to the assist line. So I think points and rebounds is definitely where you want to focus on. But we do definitely see him going on the under in this one. Now, when we actually look at Zach Edey, obviously he is a great player, but he also is a center. And what Thunder have shown time and time again is that they do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, even assists to the center position. So we definitely see someone like Zach Edey going on the under in this one. Obviously, coming into this game, Thunder are going to have Chet Holmgren all over Zach Edey as much as they can. And Chet does a great defensive job. He did a great defensive job first game, but also just throughout the season, we definitely have seen OKC really take advantage and restrict centers as much as they can. Now, looking at Zach Edey, obviously, when we look at their first game or game 1 against OKC, we saw him only have 4 points. He had 9 rebounds, but he also had only 1 assist. So he went under on one of the line, which was points. Went on the over slightly on rebounds, and then pretty much pushed at assist. Now, in this next game, we definitely shouldn't really see him have too much usage rate, and we definitely can see him going on the under for this one. As you all know, Oklahoma City Thunder are one of the best defensive teams out there when it comes to all positions. It doesn't even need to just be center, but we definitely see that having a huge effect on Zach Edey coming into this matchup. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. So we are sticking to the under for this one. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about another great center, and that is none other than Rudy Gobert. So Rudy Gobert, great player from the Minnesota Timberwolves, as we all know. Now, he has done a fantastic job all season, but what we have actually seen is that he's actually averaged 12 points, ranking him 95th, 10.9 rebounds, ranking him 7th, 1.8 assists, ranking him 143rd, and 66.9% from the field, ranking him 3rd as well. So we've actually seen him go on the, do very well in all 3 categories throughout the season. Obviously, Rudy Gobert has been an integral part to this Minnesota Timberwolves team. And when it comes to the Minnesota Timberwolves, we do see them face off against the Los Angeles Lakers coming into game 2. Now, when we look at the Lakers and Timberwolves matchup, we all do know Lakers do rank 3rd in the Western Conference and had a record of 50-32. So they had a 61% win percentage, and they face off against Timberwolves, who rank 6th with a record of 49-33. So a 59.8% win percentage. So a little bit difference there. Obviously, there is a bit of a difference when it comes to their ranking. Obviously, Lakers rank higher, but Lakers did actually end up losing that first game. Timberwolves were able to take the win 117-95. So in that game, Minnesota Timberwolves definitely controlled the pace. They were able to get the win. And because of that, it is definitely going to be an interesting game too, as Lakers will look to try to tie it up. Now, looking at Lakers, we do see them ranked 10th when it comes to points allowed. Moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 22nd. And then rebounds allowed, we also do see them ranked 9th. So they rank pretty, low in all 3 categories, maybe a little bit mid-tier in that rebounding. However, when it comes to Rudy Gobert, we do very much like the over for this situation. Now, a big reason being for this is that when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers, they don't do a real great job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the center position. So we definitely see someone like Rudy Gobert going on the over in this one. Now, Rudy didn't really have a great game 1. I think there were a couple of other players that were definitely, taking a little bit more usage rate away from Rudy Gobert in that first game. Naz Reid had the hot hand. You also saw other players like Dante DiVincenzo have a great game. Anthony Edwards obviously had a great game there. So, it did take away from Rudy Gobert. He only had 2 points, so went under on that line there. 6 rebounds, so was on the under as well, and only 1 assist. So he did go under in all 3 categories in that game 1, but we should expect Lakers to hit Timberwolves with a lot of different adjustments, which should actually free up and give Rudy Gobert, a little bit more usage rate coming into this game too. So, you can't really stop it when Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo are hitting shots. I definitely saw Timberwolves kind of not really play Rudy Gobert to their best of ability. He did only play 24 minutes, which isn't bad, but definitely a bit under his usual. But in this next game, we definitely should see, Timberwolves take advantage of his height and use him as much as they can, which definitely should lead to the over for a situation here. So I definitely would keep an eye out for Rudy Gobert coming into this next matchup. It's definitely going to be an important one, especially with how things have been going. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the over for Rudy Gobert, and I definitely would focus a little bit more on points and rebounds, due to the fact that he does have a higher usage rate in both of those departments. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Rudy Gobert there. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Austin Reaves. So Austin Reaves from the Los Angeles Lakers has been playing great. He averaged 20.2 points, ranking 34th, 4.5 rebounds, ranking 92nd, 5.8 assists, ranking 24th, and a 46% field goal percentage, ranking 74th as well. So he did do a fantastic job for none other than the Los Angeles Lakers. And when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers, we do see them actually have themselves a very, very good matchup as they face off against the Timberwolves. So we did recently just talk about the Timberwolves and their rankings. So just a refresher, they do rank 6th, Timberwolves with a record of 49-33. Lakers have a record of 50-32 with a 61% win percentage. So obviously, Lakers by paper are ranked higher and should or are expected to win. But coming into this game too, they are down 1-0. Now, looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves, we do see Timberwolves ranking 5th in points allowed, 5th in assists allowed, and 8th in rebounds allowed. And like we always mentioned, defense wins championships, and that's what Timberwolves definitely did in Game 1. They played a lot of great defense, and it definitely did affect Lakers greatly, and we should see that happen again in this game too. Now, when we look at Timberwolves, they did a fantastic job at restricting Austin Reaves, because Austin Reaves in Game 1 only had 16 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. Now, that may not sound like a terrible game or a poor game at that. However, you do also have to realize that he went under on his averages in all 3 of those categories. So we are expecting a similar situation coming into this next matchup. Now, Lakers are a fast-paced team, but what Timberwolves have done very, very well, not only just in Game 1, but throughout the whole season, is they are really great at slowing down faster-paced teams. So we should see that happen coming into this next matchup, no doubt about it. We are expecting Timberwolves to put a lot of the defensive pressure on players like Luka, like LeBron, and also Austin Reaves is now in that mix. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the under for someone like Austin Reaves coming into this next game. No doubt about it. So keep an eye out for Austin Reaves. If the line is too close to his averages, they definitely look to go on the under. So definitely see a lot of great value there.